Today is the 27th day of the month of Cheshvan. We are in the middle of chapter 18 discussing the laws of the Shemoneh Esrei. Today we'll be going from paragraph 15 through the end of the chapter, paragraph 22. Paragraph 15. So we're in the middle of discussing the last paragraph, really a paragraph after Shemoneh Esrei is over on page 118, which begins Elokai Netzor. Right before we see that paragraph, that really is a post-Shemoneh Esrei prayer. So before we see that paragraph, if you look back on the bottom on page 116, there's a line that we say, in English, that means, may the expression of my mouth and the thoughts of my heart find favor before you, Hashem, God, my rock, and my redeemer. And that really is the conclusion of Shemoneh Esrei. We then add in this paragraph of Elokai Netzor. But once we see that line of then we really finished our Shemoneh Esrei. So during Shemoneh Esrei, we don't answer anything. However, when this paragraph of Elokai Netzor, assuming we said that one line, which ended our Shemoneh Esrei, even though we haven't yet taken 3 steps back, in this last paragraph of Elokai Netzor, we do answer Amen to brachas that are being said. Whether you say Baruch Hu V'ruch Shemo is a bit questionable, but you do answer things. You answer Kedusha, you answer Modim, you answer Amen. Not a problem. Again, no talking or things of that nature, but Amen to brachas is fine. At the end of the paragraph of Elokai Netzor, right before we take 3 steps back, we again say, because we're not concluding even the post-Shemoneh Esrei prayer, the post-Shemoneh Esrei paragraph and prayer as well. Paragraph 16. We already saw a few chapters back that if one has to go to the bathroom, one is not allowed to pray or study words of Torah. This is true, obviously, even more so with Shemoneh Esrei. If one has to go to the bathroom, make sure to do it before you start Shemoneh Esrei. Let's say one began Shemoneh Esrei and they didn't have to go to the bathroom, but in the middle of the Shemoneh Esrei, they now have an urge to go to the bathroom. So even though normally we would say, if it was any other part of davening, stop davening, go to the bathroom, then come back, with Shemoneh Esrei, because you're right now in front of God, you're not supposed to interrupt, and therefore you should keep praying, go a bit faster, as fast as you could, finish it off, and then go to the bathroom afterwards. If it gets to a point where it's an emergency, then obviously then you have to go to the bathroom. There's no choice about it. Paragraph 17. It's also obviously not appropriate for one to pass gas when they're in the middle of Shemoneh Esrei. And therefore, if one does have to pass gas, and they're not able to hold themselves back, then if the person's praying at home by themselves, they should take a few steps back, so like they're leaving the place of prayer, so to speak. Then he passes gas, waits for the odor to dissipate, and then goes back to where he had been praying, take the few steps forward back to where he's praying, and continue his prayer. If a person had a sudden they're having stomach problems, and they didn't have time, it came out by involuntarily, they didn't have time to take those 4 steps back. Or if they're in shul, they're in synagogue, and for them to take 4 steps back in the middle of Shemoneh Esrei would be an embarrassing thing, then in that case, they don't have to move back, but they have to wait until they have to wait to continue the Shemoneh Esrei until the odor dissipates. Paragraph 18. One is not supposed to sit within 4 cubits, approximately 6.5 feet, of someone who is in the middle of praying Shemoneh Esrei. This applies to all sides, not 4 cubits behind, to the side, and certainly not 4 cubits in front of someone who's praying Shemoneh Esrei. There are a number of exceptions to this. If you're in the middle of praying yourself, let's say you're behind and everyone else is already up to Shemoneh Esrei and you're still catching up, so you're sitting down because you're still in the middle of Shema or some earlier part of the service, then it's not a problem sitting down because it's not considered a disgrace, that the problem with sitting down while somebody's saying Shemoneh Esrei is praying Shemoneh Esrei next to you or within your area, is that when he's praying Shemoneh Esrei, God's presence is there. Listen, he's speaking to God. God's presence is there, and therefore it's like God's presence here. You're going to be sitting down. However, if you're in the middle of prayer yourself, it's not considered an affront to God's presence, so to speak. Also, if you're studying Torah, it's not considered an affront to God's presence because you're clearly involved in Torah study. That's not considered an affront to God. There are those that don't sit anywhere in front of somebody praying Shemoneh Esrei. I had mentioned 4 cubits, approximately 6 feet, but some people will not sit anywhere in front of somebody praying Shemoneh Esrei, even 10, 15, 20 feet in front of that person. That's a great chumrah, great stringency to take upon yourself, but it's not required. But behind someone or next to somebody, as long as you're 6 feet away approximately, then it's not a problem at all sitting down. Paragraph 19. If someone is weak and they have to sit down because they're weak, even if someone is praying Shemoneh Esrei right near them, since they're sitting down due to weakness or illness, again, that's not considered an affront to God. It's not that they're sitting down obviously because they're ill or they're weak. That's not a problem. Paragraph 20. Let's say you're sitting down and then somebody comes and starts praying Shemoneh Esrei right near you. Do you have to stand up? You were sitting there first. Is that a problem to remain sitting? So here it depends. If you're in your house, then you were there first. You're sitting down. By you sitting down, it's not considered an affront to God's presence that you're sitting down when this person is praying Shemoneh Esrei. He started after you're sitting down. However, if you're in a shul, you're in a synagogue, which is designated for prayer, then since it's common for people to pray over here, even though you sat down before anybody was praying, it's still considered, because there's an expectation people will be praying, it's considered an affront to the presence of God that is here when somebody's praying Shemoneh Esrei if you're sitting over there. And therefore, even though you were sitting first, if in shul, in synagogue, if somebody comes and starts praying Shemoneh Esrei near you, you have to stand up. You're not allowed to remain sitting over there. Paragraph 21. Until now, we're talking about sitting anywhere within the 4-cubit radius of a person praying Shemoneh Esrei. Standing or walking near somebody is fine on all sides except in front of them. If they're in the middle of praying Shemoneh Esrei, we're not allowed to even walk in front of that person, 4 cubits in front of that person. Again, approximately somewhere around 6 feet in front of a person praying Shemoneh Esrei. We're not allowed to walk in front of them. This could create complications. Let's say you finish your Shemoneh Esrei. You're supposed to take 3 steps back when you finish. You look behind you, and the guy behind you is still in the middle of Shemoneh Esrei. He's still praying, so you can't take your 3 steps back. What do you do in that case? You know what you do? You stand still. You don't take 3 steps back. You have to wait until he finishes praying Shemoneh Esrei to take your 3 steps back. Now, if he's taking a while, then what you could do is you could take 3 steps off to the side, so you're stepping out of his range of vision, so to speak. That would be okay, as long as you're not going straight back, and as long as you're not going in front of him. You're right now directly in front of him. You take your 3 steps back a little bit to an angle, so you're stepping out of his range of vision, or out of his line of vision, at least, rather. Now, again, if you're next to somebody who's praying, then certainly it's not a problem taking your 3 steps back. Paragraph 22. If someone is drunk to the point where they're not able to speak in a respectable manner, in a respectful manner, then they're not allowed to pray Shemoneh Esrei. To the point where if they pray Shemoneh Esrei, it's not considered a valid Shemoneh Esrei, and when they sober up, assuming it's still time for prayer, they have to pray Shemoneh Esrei again. It's quite understandable that if we're not able to speak in a respectful manner, we shouldn't be speaking to God, we shouldn't be facing God. This concludes today's episode. Have a wonderful day, and see you tomorrow.